I'm going to show you how to set up Blender 3D for video game creation. I will have some instructions that are just for my students, and then if you are following me on YouTube, I'll give you a couple different directions if you're not a student of mine. Okay, so let's get started. Come up here to the File menu and then choose User Preferences. Let's drag this window out. And let's go to the Interface tab up here in the top left, and let's turn on a couple features here. Let's turn on Zoom to Mouse Position. Let's turn on Rotate Around Selection, and let's turn on Auto Perspective. Then let's go to Themes, and you can basically change the colors and the way Blender looks. I like coming up here to the top left where it says Presets, and you can just go through here and find one that you like. The ones that I think are best and most popular with my students are Default++. You can see it's really easy to see the objects and everything like that. Flatty Light is also very popular, very modern, very nice and flat looking. And then the last one that seems to be very popular with my students is one called Science Lab. And that's the one I'm going to go with here. It's nice and dark on the eyes, and it works. Okay, so let's go ahead and save these changes we've made. So come down here in the bottom left corner, click on Save User Settings. Okay, moving on. We're now going to click on Add-ons up here. And add-ons are little bits of code, little program that allow Blender to be better and work better and more efficiently. So we're going to come up here to the search bar up in the top left, and we're going to type in the word images. When you type in images, you'll get this one right here. It says Import, Export, Import images as planes. Just click on the little checkbox there to install it, and then you can click on Save User Settings down there if you'd like. Okay, the next one, we're going to come back up here to the search bar and type in the word Pie, P-I-E, and the one you want here is the second one here. It says Pie Menu UI, Pie Menu Official, and you want to, again, click on the checkbox, and you can go ahead and hit Save again. All right, the third one that I think really helps out Blender and makes it go so much faster and easier helps you with your selection of your geometry. And this is one that does not come with Blender, so you have to download it. So if you're one of my students, you can go to Schoology where you can download it. If you're somebody that follows me on YouTube, you can just go ahead and search for the name of the add-on and you'll be able to find it. So for my students, go to the Blender Add-ons folder, click on the name of the add-on. So here's the title here, sb1234select.py. So other people you can search that online and find it. Here's what the Python code looks like. That's what PY stands for, Python. That's the language that this was written in, and it's really great. It's a small bit of code, but it's brilliant. Okay, so for my students, you're going to come down here, and down here at the bottom, here's the link. You can go ahead and click on it, and then it will go ahead and download it. Okay, we're not done yet. You're now going to go to, for my students, you're going to go to your downloads folder where that download went. And here it is right here. I'm going to go ahead and just drag and drop it to my desktop. And I'll focus on my desktop. Okay, so if you downloaded this from Schoology, you'll see that Schoology actually added in some extra information that we don't want. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the title one more time, and you're going to delete this last part here that says .txt and that little underscore. You want it to just say sb1234select.py. Now when you do that, your computer is going to pop up and say, do you want to use text or do you want to use pie? We want to use pie. Okay, so click on that, and then there you go. It's just left like that. Okay, now that we've corrected that, you can go back to Blender. Now, let's say in Blender, your user preferences menu, if that disappeared or anything like that, you can just come right back here to File and User Preferences, and it'll pop back up. Okay, so we want to be on Add-ons, and we want to come down here in the middle, the bottom middle that says Install Add-on from File. And then you're going to, okay, so once you get the install manual window open here, you're going to want to resize it. So just click and drag in the bottom right hand corner, and you want to come over here on the left hand side, and you want to either click on desktop or downloads. That's where your add-on has gone. Mine went to the desktop, and so here it is here. Okay, if you don't see it here, go to your downloads folder. If you don't see it in your downloads folder, you need to download it again. All right, so click on the add-on here, and then click over here on the top right that says Install Add-on from File. Then when you do that, what you should see is you should see it show up right over here, and you want to click on the little checkbox to activate it, and then click on Save User Settings. Okay, you can now go ahead and close the Blender Preferences window, and we only want to do a couple more little things here, and then we're all set. Okay. Next, we want to come up here to the top middle of Blender, and you're going to see this little pull-down menu that says Blender Render, and you want to click on Blender Game. Okay, that activates the game engine. Then you want to come over here to the far right-hand side, and you're going to see this big old toolbar, sets of toolbars over here on the right-hand side, and you can actually widen this. And you can do that by putting your mouse pointer right on the edge, and it'll turn into a double arrows. And when it turns into the double arrows, you can then left click and drag to the left, and then that way you can see everything. Okay? And how wide do you make it? Do you make it that wide? No, of course not. How wide do you make it? You make it wide enough that right up here you can see all of these little tiny buttons here. The very last one is this one here called Physics. It's a little bouncing ball. So as long as you can see all of them, you're good to go. Okay. Speaking of these little buttons here, you want to make sure you're clicked on the very first one. It looks like a old-timey camera. And then you want to scroll down until you find a category called Shading. If shading is closed, click on the word Shading and it will open up. So there's two buttons here. You want to click on the second one called GLSL. That basically turns on the higher end graphics of the gaming engine. You get to see prettier stuff. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to have you put your mouse pointer out here in the 3D window, and I'm going to have you press the letter N, N as in no. And that's going to bring up a new toolbar over here on the right-hand side. And I want you to scroll down, and I want you to come down here until you find the category called Shading. And I want you to go ahead and turn on this little checkbox here that says Ambient Occlusion. And then that's pretty much it. There's another option here that looks really nice called Matte Cap. And that's a personal option. You can turn that on or off. You can turn that on and it makes your objects look almost like clay, which is a look that I like. I will tell you that if you click on this box here that says Matte Cap, this makes a lot of my students very happy, especially some of these weirder, wilder ones. You generally don't want your objects to be super shiny like this. This is actually a very bad thing. For my students, I will explain why, and I'm sure you'll all be sad. But while these look really cool, they're just not practical at all. So the one that I like is the very first one here. I know it's very simple and plain, but it works the best. Okay. You can now close this toolbar by pressing the letter N again, and then it goes away. All right, our final step, and that is to save all the changes that we just made, and then we'll be done. You're going to come back up here to the File menu, and you're going to choose this option here that says Save Startup File. And when you click on it, Blender's going to ask you, is it okay for me to save the startup file? You're going to click again, and now every time you open up Blender, all of those settings that you just made and the colors you just changed, they should stick. All right, thank you very much. I will see you in the next video.